Tell me a little bit about Deidre Currie.
Dee was born and raised on the South Island of New Zealand in a very small town where she also graduated from Otago University with a teaching degree. And from there she traveled to London, England and lived there for 4 years. While in London, she traveled most of Europe and most of the world. Once she left London, she eventually ended up in Sydney, Australia, where she took an interest in nutrition, and it was there she became a chapter leader for the Weston A. Price Foundation.
How did you two meet?
Dee decided to go to the national conference of the Weston A. Price Foundations in 2005, and the year before I had embarked on my own nutrition journey after my daughter was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes. And so at the last moment, I decided to also go to the same conference. And people were attending the conference from all over the world. And on the very last night of the conference, they had an impromptu picnic on the back porch of the hotel that we were staying at. And it was there that I ran into Dee.
How did your relationship work?
When Dee and I met, we instantly fell for one another, and we spent most of the night talking to each other and getting to know each other very well. But it was sort of bittersweet because we lived on opposite ends of the world, and we stayed in touch with each other by emails, and that culminated with her inviting me to come visit her in Sydney, Australia, to be her date on New Year's Eve on Sydney Harbor for the fireworks.
And that's when you got engaged?
I stayed in Sydney with Dee for 4 weeks, and by the end of the 4 weeks, we pretty much we both knew where we were headed, which was to get married. And so when I left there, we had decided that she would come visit me in Michigan. And by the time she got to Michigan, we had already decided we were going to get married. And so we just, she came here, visited, I showed her around Michigan, and then from there we just kept going right over to Europe and did our honeymoon before the wedding.
I appreciate everybody being here. Thank you very much.
Yes, you need a kiss. It's on video.
We married in near Dee's hometown in New Zealand on the South Island. And from there, we decided we would live in my home state of Michigan. And from there, Dee immediately picked up where she left off and became a chapter leader for the Weston A. Price Foundation here in Michigan. She started the Wise Traditions Michigan Conference, the first of its kind, that same year. And she started working with a lot of the local organic and transitional farmers and promoting them. During all this, she had become pregnant, so by the time we put on the first Wise Traditions Michigan Conference in September of 2007, Dee was 6 months pregnant. On January 8th of this year, Dee woke up early in the morning, unable to breathe. We rushed her to the hospital, where the baby was starting to crash, so they had to have an emergency operation to bring him into the world. And Dee passed away shortly after that. So she never got to meet our son Jack. We had a service for her here in Michigan. Her parents flew in. From here we took her to her hometown in New Zealand, where we buried her there.
What's next for you and Jack?
Jack and I are going to move to New Zealand sometime next year. We're going to go and visit in January so he can meet the rest of his family over in New Zealand, and then we'll scope out the housing market and the job market, and by this time next year, being the fall, we hope to move there.
And so this year's festival is dedicated to Dee's memory.
Yes, this festival is basically a continuation of Dee's work with the Wise Traditions Michigan Conference that she put on last year. And I've renamed it the Deidre Currie Festival in her honor. And I just want to have a special day to honor her life and all that she's accomplished in her life. And bring in some phenomenal speakers and have an organic farmers market, all sustainable farmers market, and just have a wonderful day in her honor.
very short because I know you're all very hungry. But yeah, as Archie said, thank you all for coming. Thank you very much to Carol and really the whole family for putting this night on. It means a lot to us. We obviously couldn't have you with us, but to have you here tonight is just as special. And I would like to say that for me being new to Michigan, I just really appreciated how kind and open and really made me feel part of the family. So thank you very much and have a really fun night.
Let's eat.
No, I would not give you false hope on this strange and mournful day. But the mother and child reunion is all